You'd be at 10 out of 10 right now if you just health maxed. Everybody knows that Henry Cavill, aka Superman, is kind of seen like the 10 out of 10 guy, right? And this is why this video will be a guide on how to Superman your looks. So the big idea is that every metric of beauty is downstream of your health. Giving all your efforts to it will therefore skyrocket your attractiveness, since beauty comes from health. And natural symmetry proves this, like a mother who takes care of her diet, and obviously genetics too play a role, but a mother that takes care of her diet, right, like feeds her body through what nature can provide through healthy food, then produces a very symmetrical baby, right? These people are beautiful because they're very symmetrical. That's how natural beauty works. It's your symmetry, it's your facial features, how good they are in proportion to one another, and how how symmetrical you are from left to right. So I try to look max, right? I try to get more symmetrical, basically like get more attractive, but in the end it comes down to being more symmetrical and like the natural beauty metrics, right? But I kept eating poorly, I kept having bad habits like mouth breathing. I didn't even nail the basics, right? Look at me. Like I definitely didn't like nail the basics. I was mouth breathing, I was eating shit food, and this was during puberty as well. Here was like 13, 14 years old. And that's why I still look like that and didn't really like take puberty to the advantage that you could take it. But then I kind of locked in and I kind of sorted all this out with my diet, with my natural habits like we'll talk about. And this is the progress I've made. And Henry Cavill, going back to him, the 10 out of 10 guy, Superman, right? He looks way better than his brothers. He has 4 brothers. There are 5 brothers total. And look at this, like 1, 2, and then we have like Henry right here. Like 5 guys, and only one of them looked like Henry, like a supermodel, like the 10 out of 10 guy. That's not just luck, that's not just genetics, that has to be something else. And there's something called epigenetics that causes similar DNA to express differently in different human beings, depending on basically what you do with what nature has given you. So how your mother behaves when she's pregnant with you, and then obviously how you behave as a baby, as a toddler, and then you when you live basically your life. And Henry, he probably built the best health foundation when he was little, and then kept doing that obviously through his teens and stuff. And then nature rewarded him, right? And there has to be like a protocol. There has to be a way we also can health max in this way, because that's amazing, right? And that's why step 1 is the full health maxing diet protocol. This will be the only basically diet guide you'll need. You don't need to follow the bodybuilding, the fitness stuff. Just follow the health maxing routine that will get you to like feel the best, right? And look your best. It's easy. So first we have to talk about how fucking bad supermarkets and like diets have become today. So like 73%, this is a real fact, 73% of products has added sugars in American grocery stores. And sure, this is America, right? But even outside of America, like in Europe, in Asia, in Africa, shit is still fucking processed. Like shit has added sugar in it, right? And 26% of organic foods, like organic, are actually filled with pesticides. Like they have pesticides, which is basically what the farmers spray on these, fruits or something like that, to basically like keep the insects from eating them. But then we eat that spray, chemical spray as well. And like other like organic foods might have like grains, like vaccines, because organic is not a like protected term. Anyone can call their product organic if it just like looks like a fruit or something, right? So today we need basically higher diet standards than the people 150 years ago. Like back here, this maybe is Europe, maybe this is America even. Back then, like a long time ago, people could just walk down the street and go to a food market like this, and they didn't need to have that like high standards. They could be ignorant. They just pick what they want, because they pick some fruit, then they pick some meat from a butcher, then they pick some eggs from the farmer, some raw milk. Like it wasn't more complicated than that. But today, we have to be so more so much more hyper aware, because if we just walk around and pick everything we want in the grocery store, we'll end up looking like this motherfucking unit right here. Like, would you say she can be ignorant and just like fill her grocery cart with whatever she wants? No, but like, okay, it's her responsibility to obviously not do so, but like it hasn't worked for her, obviously. Like, this isn't only true for Americans as well. Like, every guy, every person needs to be aware of this, right? Your mother as well, if she's the one to go grocery shopping, you need to tell her to not buy the processed shit, right? And we'll cover this, right? So unprocessed, what you actually want to buy, or your mother for to buy, is the only real food. Like just like deep down, you have to always keep that in mind. Unprocessed is the only real food. If you're eating something that's processed, you're not eating real food. And it's not going to kill you, but we're health maxing here, right? So the definition of unprocessed is anything that's from an animal or from the ground or from a tree, right? So you can basically pick these things, you can grow them, or you can kill an animal to get them, right? And without processing, because you could like have a meat, have a fruit, and then actually process it by doing some weird shit like adding stuff to it. But an example, minced meat, that's meat where you've kind of like churned it down to become, minced, but that is not processed. That doesn't count as like processed foods. It's just still meat, right? But a protein bar, which is also like, okay, it's protein, it has this and blah blah blah, that is 100% processed. It doesn't matter if it says organic, organic ingredients or whatever. It's processed because you couldn't find a protein bar in a fucking tree. Like, there's no tree where you can just go pick protein bars. Otherwise, every fucking bodybuilder would spam those fucking trees in a garden, right? And you can't like grow a protein bar. You can't get it from an animal. So basically, that's processed. That's a good like vision. Like, that's a good definition to think about. Okay, protein bar processed, minced meats not processed, and what's been done to the food is key. That's why I'm talking. That's why I'm even talking about this, because you obviously know that, okay, maybe a protein bar is worse than minced meat. Like, maybe meat is better than a protein bar. But that you gotta understand, like, what's been done to the food is really key. Like, if the food has been filled with antibiotics and a bunch of additives, you're eating that shit. Like, that isn't good for you at all. Like, you're eating whatever these motherfuckers put in their food just to make it more addictive and like look better and stuff. And that doesn't say on the label. Like, what's been done to the food, it doesn't say on the label. Like, where it says this is 500 calories and this many grams of sugar. Yeah, it says that, but it doesn't say what they're doing to it, because the food industry doesn't want you to know. They're going to keep lying to you. They're going to keep that information hidden, right? But if you realize that, maybe I'll just try to say fuck the food industry, eat unprocessed, you'll just have less brain fog, more energy, and also just like some examples of what you'll gain naturally in a second when you work with your body, when you work with nature. So going even deeper into this, because you'll really need to understand what is okay to buy if you're health maxing and what is not, and you need to listen to this, right? Nova class 1 to 4, this is the classes that determine unprocessed and processed, right? Because there's like a whole line, right? So Nova 1, starting on the very natural end, is the natural foods. And these may have removed some kind of inedible parts, but there's basically no processing. It's just the natural food. It's good things like fruit, it's like meat and eggs. That's super healthy. That will never be unhealthy for you, of course, unless you go in excessive amounts, right? Even water can kill you, right? But that's the natural food that you definitely want to have in your diet always. Nova 2 are foods that are made from Nova 1 and usually used for like cooking and seasoning and stuff. So it's like salt and seasoning, it's butter, it's sugar, it's flour, and those are obviously also pretty okay to use. Like, definitely don't overdo the sugar. Like, of course, we all know that, but it's better than like some weird ass product that probably has sugar and a bunch of other shit, right? So Nova 3 is simple products that are made from Nova 2 and combined with the Nova 1. So basically you combine the cooking whatever, like butter, and you combine eggs and you make that into some egg thing or some simple product basically. And that's like canned vegetables, nice like fresh bread, applesauce. These kind of shits you can like see in the supermarket, and if they're Nova class free, which means that they're less than 4 ingredients, then you can buy those, right? You can have some fresh bread because it's obviously just like what 3 ingredients in a fresh piece of bread. So that's good, right? That's still nice. But here is the cutoff. After Nova 3, we get into Nova 4. And these are the processed and ultra processed foods that you basically just want to avoid. Like, because these are above 4 ingredients. That's basically the definition of processed and ultra processed. So anything above 4, maybe 5 ingredients, then you're talking about something that's processed, something that's ultra processed, right? Because what else are you gonna add to like a natural food? Like imagine just some fruit. How can you add four new ingredients, like except for just the fruit? How can you add 4 other ingredients and then call it natural, right? It's processed, right? So obviously it's snacks and stuff, like obviously it's ice cream, but it's also like ready to go meals. These meals you put in the microwave, it's protein bars, like basically anything above 4 or 5 ingredients. So sugar, obviously we've heard about sugar and that it's super bad, but like it's a double-edged sword, right? Because added sugars, that means you add fructose to something, at least in America, without any fiber in that fructose. So it's just pure fructose. It's like chemically enhancing this product to make it, have added sugar. That's going to give you a huge insulin spike, like a huge insulin spike. Whenever your glucose rises, which is sugar in your body, that's glucose, then the insulin will follow to try to bring down the glucose, but the insulin will stay elevated. That means your fat storages, that insulin will then go to fat storage because it's done its job, right? The glucose has gone down, but where's the insulin gonna go? It's gonna go to fat, right? And in your liver and shit. That's really bad. That's really fucking bad. That's visceral fat. That's everything's that's bad about your health, right? And you'll get inflammation. You'll then develop leaky gut, which 93% of Americans have. That's a huge like amount. And basically, when you fuck up your gut, kind of like leaky gut is, because in leaky gut you kind of this inflammation kind of leaks from your gut into your bloodstream and then basically affects your whole body, your whole mood, your whole your whole health. Like a fucked up gut is stage 1 of sickness. You want to know what stage 7 is? Stage 7 is cancer. You're basically gone. You're deleted if you're not lucky, right? So like take this seriously. It's not only to look the best, it's not only to become the 10 out of 10, but like it's to live longer, like to live happier, to live a fulfilling life. You gotta like definitely be aware of what's happening in your gut. And if you're eating shit like that's added sugars, you're definitely like killing your gut slowly day by day. Like drinking this shit every day, that's horrible. Or even shit like this, like fruit juices that often has added sugars to make it even more addictive, right? It's not just pure fruit. So fruit, although, is fine. If it's pure fruit, if it's nothing added to it, because it has fiber. So fruit has fructose, that's the sugar in fruit, fructose, like the bad one that I just talked about. But it also has fiber combined, so that therefore it actually feeds the gut. It doesn't spike your insulin as much. And berries are kind of the goats of fruits, but also just normal fruits. They have fiber. Berries, I believe, have more fiber and a little bit less fructose, so that's why they're the goats. But just fruit, clean berries, clean fruit, that's fine. But EU has its own version of fructose, because maybe you're thinking like, okay, but those sugary items and shit, I'm safe from that because I don't live in America. No, like Americans are obese because they just put sugar in everything. But EU has sucrose, which is another form of sugar. There's multiple forms of sugar. And this sugar basically does the same shit as fructose in the body. So what you don't want to do, like maybe is count every gram of sucrose, because this will be on the label of the product, obviously. Okay, this product has 3 grams of sugar per 100 grams. You don't need to count every gram of sugar all day, right? You just need to stay away from the Nova class for foods, right, that we talked about. So if you stay away from these foods, like these type of foods, you'll basically automatically not consume that much sucrose, right? That much sugar that's without the fiber in fruits, right? So if anything is 5 or more ingredients, basically like lock in and quit those shits, right? But what happens is there's some kind of desserts. There are desserts out there that you could eat because they're actually less than 5 ingredients and 4 ingredients. And I'm sure that's kind of a mind fuck for you because obviously when you look at something like ice cream, you think, okay, nope, can't eat that. And that's true for Ben and Jerry's and stuff that they put so many ingredients in there. They're loaded with sugar and stuff. Like artificial sweeteners as well. That's even more bad and that's worse than sugar. But there's a company named Häagen-Dazs that makes ice cream, and you can like have one of these or up to 4 of these per month, depending on maybe your calorie intake and stuff. Like if you want to gain weight or lose weight and stuff, because this ice cream has 4 ingredients or 5 ingredients, basically cream, skim milk, cane sugar, egg yolks, and vanilla. And they have different flavors of this. Maybe it won't look exactly like this, but like if it's the vanilla flavor, you just turn the product on its back, count the ingredients. If there's 5 ingredients, you can eat it, right? It's just for dessert though, not for breakfast, lunch, dinner, right? Just dessert, like one time a week. So this is an example diet you'll actually want to maybe consider following if you don't really, want to make your own, because, this is like a blueprint that you can just test out, right? I had very good result. I've seen very good results with this in transforming my body to this and my health overall from just like months, right, of actually locking in with my health. So the main foods are for breakfast. I'd have 2 runny eggs, and that basically means like you cook the eggs in a pan, or you maybe have a boiler thing, or you boil them in like in water, and basically make it so the egg yolk, basically the thing in the middle that's yellow, is kind of runny. Not hard, but runny. That's way better. That's healthier than if it's hard. And basically have 1 serving of fruits or berries alongside that. So that's your breakfast done, right? I'll also add, like, you'll be able to add options, by the way, to these. That's the next slide. But for lunch, have a lot of meat. It could be any meat. It could be red meat, right? Any cut of red meat. It could be pork. It could be chicken. It could be fish, right? Just have meat, so you basically have that protein, and you basically have the nutrients that are found in meat, which are the best. Basically, the best food to get those nutrients is probably to eat meat. And then have some brown or white rice if you like that, or maybe some sweet potatoes, maybe some normal potatoes, just because you could do some with some carbs. Like you could also just not use carbs at all, but like these carbs won't actually be that bad for you. If you're sensitive to them, you might discover that you're kind of sensitive to rice or potatoes, but like try them out, right? Then have an avocado with that, I would also suggest, to healthy fats and stuff. Snack or pre-workout, pre-gym, you can have 1 to 2 fruits or berries again, so you'll kind of carb up, right? Get that sugar. That's good sugar because it has fiber as well, right? Fructose with fiber, and that will pump you up for the workout, or just have it as a snack if you don't have that workout that day. Then for dinner, have more meat. This can be a lot of meat, not too much, obviously. You don't need like more than 200 grams of protein. And for most guys, even like if you're a bit shorter, like I'm really tall, so I might eat 200 grams of protein. But if you're not that tall, you can stay at like 160, 170 grams of protein. But I'll talk about that. But you can also add brown or white rice here, potatoes, 1 to 3 eggs, and then a fruit again. This is a really good, like, stable day of eating. And here's what you can actually add if you want a more flexible, or if you just like to add stuff, right? Obviously, you can also remove some stuff like the rice and potatoes and stuff. So in breakfast, you had runny eggs, you had a serving of fruit. You could also add raw or organic cheese to that, maybe have it on top of the eggs. You could add milk, and that would preferably be raw milk, or at least goat milk, because that's the A2 version of milk that you'll want. So if you can get raw milk from a farm or something, try to get that. If you can get goat milk, maybe from the supermarket, try to get that. Then for lunch, you had a lot of meat and rice, potatoes, avocado. You could actually add your own homemade sauce. If it has 4 or 5 ingredients, you can make a homemade sauce if you really want, to have more of that, texture, and you like sauces in food and stuff. I'm fine without, but like it's your preference. You can also add fermented foods like kimchi, sauerkraut, fermented pickles to that. That's actually good. You don't have to eat these daily, because if you eat them, your bacteria in your gut will basically feed on them for a long time, which is really good. Then you could also add some bone broth if you can get that from a farm or get a good source from the supermarket. It's basically like a kind of liquidy broth that you can just drink or something. It's really good for your health as well overall and your skin. So then we had a snack or pre-workout, and to that you can add the organic or raw yogurt, because you could basically add the fruits to the yogurt, but it has to be organic, or at least or raw if you can get that as well. That's better. And then add raw honey on that as well. So if you want to even carb max further, right? If you really want to get that pump in the gym, right? But be careful, like don't go too excessive, but you can definitely use some raw honey here. That's fine, right? Honey is good for you. For dinner, you could also have raw honey on top of the dinner, right? You had meat, here you could actually remove the brown or white rice. Maybe you just want to eat rice or potatoes one time per day, so maybe choose lunch or just dinner, right? And then you could add some raw honey on that top of that if you didn't add it here, maybe, or you can add it again. You could have carrots, you could have cooked mushrooms. These are like fine type of vegetables and mushrooms that you can add if you really want. So the foundational stuff, that basically the rules that you'll also want to follow in terms of other stuff around this diet, is basically to always cook in butter, tallow, or coconut oil. And ghee is fine as well. So don't go for vegetable oils. Those are terrible. Those have seed oils that basically stores in your body and basically, you know, it kills you slowly. So never cook with seed oils, like never. And if you're at a restaurant, maybe even ask the staff to just cook in butter, tallow, coconut oil, and don't cook in any oil. No oil, not even olive oil, because when you heat up olive oil, it turns into a seed oil. And not margarine as well. You know, that liquidy, weird butter? That's not butter. That's not real butter. So real butter, tallow, coconut oil. 1 gram protein per pound of body weight. So for me, that would be around like 200 grams of protein, right? Because I'm at like 200 pounds. And 0.3 to 0.5 grams of fat per pound of body weight. And then you give basically the rest to carbs. You could have some low ingredient desserts sometimes, like the Haagen-Dazs ice cream. You could have some organic chocolate. Just make sure it has under 4 or 5 ingredients, right? You can have coffee that's from a good source. That's really important, because otherwise in regular coffee there might be a bunch of additives, there might be mold even in those like beans. You don't really know the source, so make sure it's from a good source if you're drinking coffee. Avoid plastic. That's just huge for your hormones. I talk about that later as well, some extras at the end. But avoid plastic, toothbrush, kitchen essentials like your cutting board, tea bags and stuff. Also avoid diet sweeteners, because these sweeteners, although they might seem better than sugar because, oh my god, they have no calories, it's just the same sweetness and there's 0 calories and it's like fitness, right? That is horrible for you. That basically imitates fructose in the body. So even though it's not real sugar, it basically does the same shit that real sugar without fiber, right? It's not fruit, like it's like some diet bullshit, like protein bar with diet sweeteners, right? That will have the same bad effect. So don't do that. Don't go for the fitness foods like fitness bread unless they're 4 to 5 ingredients, right? And preferably without the diet sweeteners as well. So the extras I'm going to be covering just to end this guide is circadian rhythm, cortisol, and hormones. So these are also really key to dial in your health. Circadian rhythm means waking up and going to bed at roughly the same time, like within 5 or 15 minutes every day, and no later than 12 a.m. So don't go to sleep no later than 12, because then your body won't get like good sleep. No matter how many hours you sleep, you can sleep 10 hours, but if you go to sleep later than 12, your body is kind of, your internal clock, your internal clock, which is your circadian rhythm, basically fucks up. So also set an alarm 15 minutes before bed to just slow down. It's like a bedtime alarm, like go do your hygiene, go to brush your teeth, just like turn off the lights and shit like that. Then when you wake up, have some sunlight in the morning. That's really good for resetting the circadian rhythm. So then you'll be sleepy at night, unless you're a fucking incel, right? Unless you're a retard and actually go in your bed late at night having an AirPod in, just because you want to, make it easier to fall asleep, to watch something. I used to cope with that as well. Don't watch something, just go to sleep. You'll fall asleep way faster, way easier, and will be way better for your circadian rhythm, for your sleep, hormones, testosterone, everything, right? And if you have a school, if you have job, right? If you have a job, choose the earliest wake up time, obviously, in that's for a weekday. Maybe it's on Tuesdays, you have to wake up at 6 because you go to school at 7:30. Well, then basically wake up at 6 every day. So yes, Monday to Sunday, wake up at 6, and yes, even the weekends, right? And yeah, then you'll be good. So also, you want to lower cortisol, of course. This is a big trend right now, but it's like, it's good for you, really good for you. I would do 5 to 15 minutes of meditation daily. And yeah, it might seem like woo, it might seem like, oh, this is what just monks do. But 80% of successful entrepreneurs, like rich entrepreneurs, do this. So just do it, right? It isn't woo-woo, it works. I've done it for like 8 months now, consistently every day. It's amazing, right? Also do grounding 5 to 15 minutes daily. That means you have your feet with no socks, just barefoot in the ground, in a preferably in grass, right? So outside in a garden, in a park. Basically walk around, have some fun, play with a ball or something, go on a walk with a friend or something, just for 5-15 minutes, right? Relax and have a nice time. So you can also read for like 30 minutes or like pretty often, right? Or you can read for like 15 minutes daily. If you're not that much of an avid reader, like if you don't read that often, maybe start with just 15 minutes daily, and then you can up the time you read. That's also really good for just like focusing on something that's not as stimulating as, you know, social media and stuff where you're just scrolling. So also try to eat food slow and preferably outside as well, at least if, you know, the sun is out, if it's a good weather, because then you'll get more sun as well, which is good for you. You shouldn't fear the sun at all. Also, nose breathe 24/7. That means you only breathe through your nose unless you're doing very hard exercise, very like a very tough workout in the gym or a very hard run. On evenings when you go into sleep, have mouth tape. You can just search this up on Amazon or something. Search up micro pore tape. Just put that on. It won't choke you. You'll breathe through your nose in your sleep, and that's way better for you. That's basically like free mewing gains. So your jawline will develop from that. So also have no caffeine 6 hours before bed, and preferably if you're even more locked in, like 9-10 hours before bed. And also just smile more. Like go around with a smile and you'll feel a lot less stress. Hormones, the last thing I'll cover here. For a gym split, that will basically like fuel your body to produce better hormones, like more testosterone and stuff from the gym. You could try arms, push, pull, legs. That basically is 4 times per week. You do a whole arm session, then you do push, like your chest, shoulders, triceps. Then you do pull, obviously your back and your biceps. Kind of not much like much of biceps and triceps on these ones because you've had a whole arm day. And then you do legs on the 4th day, or you could just do arms, then upper lower if you want to go just 3 times per week. You could also do a 10 to 20-minute sauna. I would really recommend that, because if you sauna, if you sweat, you'll also sweat out like shit that's bad for you in your inside of your body, like toxins that have built up from plastics and stuff. Sauna is just a staple, right? Have a kind of cold or at least like medium shower after. Don't go into a hot shower, just go into like a cold or a kind of lukewarm shower after you've sauna, by the way. Then throw away the plastics. Plastics, they don't cut it anymore. Like we've produced so much plastic now in the world that you're just gonna be exposed to it. Like you can't go like clean from plastic to 100%. Can't just never, be exposed to these microplastics that are very bad for your hormones like testosterone and shit. But you can throw away your toothbrush that's often made of plastic and just get a bamboo toothbrush out, right? In the kitchen, you have essentials like the pan, like don't have the non-stick Teflon pan, have like a cast iron or a steel pan. Also, plastic cutting board, you can swap that out for a wooden one or like a metal or whatever. A spatula that you cook the food with, you can swap that plastic out for a wooden one. Like it's very cheap to do this as well. Then your fluoride toothpaste, you want to cut this out and just get a fluoride-free toothpaste. Just search that up, or like a natural toothpaste. Your polyester, spandex, and nylon clothing are also fucking with plastic. Those are basically all plastic. Like they're like fancy names, but it's just plastics on your skin when you wear these clothing. Especially like gym clothing also often has these kind of materials. So switch that out to just cotton, linen, or wool clothing only. That's Another tip you can do is to also not spray perfume directly onto your skin, but onto your clothes. You'll still smell good, but you won't get whatever like plastics and chemicals are in the perfume into your skin, because your skin basically absorbs everything. It's your largest organ, right? So finally, finishing this whole guide, I want you to take this action step right now. I want you to lock in and basically promise me that you're gonna stick to this shit, because this is your health. And everything, not just beauty, everything is downstream of your health. Your success in whatever, in business, in relationships, in fulfillment, like in how good you feel day to day, every minute, every second that goes by. How good do you want to feel? You want to feel your fucking best, right? You want to be multidimensionally healthy, become healthy in every area of life, and therefore become attractive in every area of life. Like, you'll get your dream life. You'll attract your dream life by doing so. So definitely like screenshot all of these pages. So we're gonna start with the example diet right here, right? Screenshot this right now. This is the main foods that you can just, that's the main blueprint, right? Screenshot this. You can screenshot this. This is the options that you could add to the diet, right? And screenshot this. This is the foundational stuff that you also want to, of course, follow. And screenshot these last pages as well. Circadian rhythm, really important. Lower cortisol, screenshot it as well. And hormones, also really important. Now you've basically got to make your own Superman transformation. I definitely believe that you're gonna like Superman your looks and your health overall, become the best version of yourself. And if you want more help, I actually do free 1-hour calls where I just basically give you free advice. You can book that call. It's a call with you and me. It's totally free, just advice to you for 1 hour. Book that in the link description. It's linked in the description below this video. You can book that by just booking a call by the link. And yeah, I'll see you in another video. Don't be one-dimensional, become multidimensionally healthy. Peace!